Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about those colleges and universities who have stated that anyone should be able to identify as Black regardless of their skin color. Now, I've seen a lot of the comments on this particular subject on various threads where it has been posted. And some people have some reasoning that, to me, just goes to show you that there is definitely an agenda here. Now, anyone who wants to identify as Black who really isn't Black, trust me, trust and believe it has nothing to do with love and adoration. It has nothing to do with wanting to fit in with a class of people that they think are just phenomenal or wonderful people. There's an agenda there. So why would these colleges and universities say that anyone should be allowed to identify as Black, regardless of their skin color? Now, what if the reverse was said? What if someone said anyone should be allowed to identify as white, regardless of their skin color? I don't think too many people like that. Now, let me just clarify something here real quick. Technically speaking, there is no such thing as Black or white in terms of a race. There is no white race, there is no Black race. Okay? Those name assignments or titles were given for a whole other reason than what people think. I'm not going to get into that right now because that's a whole other subject. But anyway, to identify someone as Black because they want to be Black, it is not fair, especially when you can't do the same thing in reverse. Now, if we want to be technical about things, in which this is one of the comments or one of the arguments I saw in the comment section under one of the posts that shared this, it was said that every color comes from Black. Every shade comes from Black. But you can't say the same for white. Every shade can't come from white, right? And so if every shade comes from Black, then it would stand to reason that we should be able to identify as anything if we wanted to, if it all comes from us, you know? But they're making the argument in reverse. But the whole thing becomes very confusing when you try to say that you can identify as this when you're not, or you can identify as that when you're not. We all know our origins, or should I say we should know. We know that every human on the planet comes from the womb of a Black woman at some point in history, okay? Meaning every racial group on this planet, and I've talked about this before, not every racial group comes from the first man, Adam. Okay, because the seed line of mankind, or should I say humans, was infiltrated at some point, and this is why you have people that look different. Science knows this. People know this. Some in the religious world know this. Okay, that when the scripture talks about mingling the seed with the seed of man or mankind, humans, there was something that took place in history. This is why you have Chinese people and Arab people and white people and Black people. They all look different. When you try to understand this from merely a scientific standpoint, you're going to hit a brick wall, because not all is told with science. But when you look at biblical history of what has taken place in the world, more specifically the book of Enoch, in which a lot of people don't subscribe to the book of Enoch. A lot of people don't agree with it. But when you look at that history, you will see why people look different. you will see why the faces of people around the world have changed from what they look like in the very beginning. Adam and Eve, the first two humans on the planet, which of course that was not their names. That's just the name assigned. They have real names that were assigned in history, but they are being called Adam and Eve. And just for the sake of this video, people understanding that those are the first two humans on the planet, Adam and Eve were black. Okay? And something happened because the human bloodline was infiltrated. The black woman's womb was infiltrated. And this is why you have all of the different faces that you see today. That being said, back to the subject at hand. When you go and try to say that I can identify as this because of this thing that happened or that thing that happened, but we can't do it in reverse, it's not done because there's some type of love or adoration for being black. It is done to create confusion. Many times you will have certain things that are allocated for people of color. But when you have everyone sticking their heads out saying, look, I'm a person of color. One such example was actually given in one of the articles that I read, where there was a guy, it says in the UK, there was a white theater actor, Anthony Lennon, who faced criticism for identifying as an African born again and securing public funding intended to help develop the careers of those from underrepresented communities. It's happened before too, where people say, well, I'm going to identify as black so that I can gain access to benefits that were allocated for blacks. Or I'm going to claim to be a Native American so that I can claim access to those benefits. And even the whole idea of Native Americans being the people that you see today, they are actually a mixed blend of African people or African women whose seed or whose bodies were infiltrated. So it's a very complex story that can be easily deciphered if you take the time to research history on where all of the faces of humanity come from. Why are people looking so vastly different? Very good explanation for it, but I just wanted to chime in on the fact that people are trying to say, you have universities actually trying to say this, and it kind of reminds me of that whole $5 Indian thing. If you recall history, or if you understand history or know history, even the so-called Indians were black people. But over time, they were whited out, right? But guess what? The black ones still exist. But they are not highly recognized. They are not largely recognized, should I say. Because everyone in modern time has come to know them as this lighter version of what they really are. And so modern people don't want to even identify or accept the reality of what even the so-called Native Americans look like, which were African descent, children of Ham. Anyway, I am done with this video. I hope that I've said something that makes sense and I didn't confuse anyone with, taking that little travel back in time. But I wanted to just point out how people are just, they want to be black when it suits them, but when it don't, nope. No compute. They don't want it then. If it suits them, yes. If not, no, I want to be something else. I want to be the one who is on the receiving end of just mainstream benefits. But if I can get access to allocated benefits to this small group who already gets very little in the first place, I want that too. So I'm going to identify as this over here and take advantage of the benefits I get for looking like I look. I know that may be a tongue twister, family, or a mind twister, what I just said. But if you just really listen and just pay attention to what I said and just maybe back it up a little bit, you'll understand what I just said, right? You have people double dipping. That's the point I'm trying to make. They are double dipping. They're taking advantage of the benefits of being of the ruling class or looking like the ruling class, but they are also dipping in over here to the small few benefits that are allocated for people of color. That's called double dipping. Anyway, I'm about to dip out of here. In the comment section, tell me what your thoughts are below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, share and like this video. And with that, I am out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.